Be warned, it's intense.
Okay, that was a nice daytime nap. But, not gonna lie, I actually sleep during most of the day, actually, in real life. What is up, guys? If you are new here or returning, my name is Ryan World Movies, and for this month of October, in the spirit of the Halloween season, my content throughout this month will be themed towards Halloween or horror genre in the spirit of Halloween, to hopefully join in on the fun of celebrating the season of spooky monsters and ghostly ghouls, haunting fables and grimly antics. So if you are joining in on the fun this Halloween season, be sure to smash that subscribe button like you're beating a zombie, swipe or punch that like button like you're fighting a monster, and don't forget to share this video around to help with the traction and the views as though you're sharing another scary fable to tell. Any sort of support to boost this channel would be very much appreciated, and as you can see, yeah, the skeleton glove is getting much worse and is flailing around like crazy, so I think on that note, without further ado, let's get this night started, shall we? So taking place 36 years after the first film, Tim Burton returns to direct Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the sequel of one of his hit classics, Beetlejuice. Where Lydia Deetz, played by Winona Ryder, is still haunted by Beetlejuice, played by Michael Keaton, is now all grown up and has an estranged relationship with her daughter, Astrid Deetz, played by Jenna Ortega. However, an unexpected family tragedy brings 3 generations of the Deetz family, including Captain O'Hara's Delia Deetz, back together at Winter River. During their time together, when Astrid accidentally discovers the model of the town in the secret attic of the house, as well as opening a portal to the afterlife, it may be only a matter of time before Lydia has to call the name Beetlejuice 3 times once more for his help to rescue her daughter, before Beetlejuice plans to release even more mayhem. So, I'll be honest guys, and this is just my opinion, but Beetlejuice is not my absolute favorite Tim Burton film, or dark fantasy, comedy, horror film for that matter. So when a sequel was announced, I was kind of half like, okay. But also half like, damn, now it's Beetlejuice's turn to get a sequel. Like, more than 30 years after the original? Man, I'm intrigued to see this. I saw it with my friends. We're all familiar with Beetlejuice. We've all seen the first film, so we were all interested going into it. And after watching it, obviously we gotta ask, was it worth it? Well, yes, in the sense that if you're looking for just a fun, entertaining, completely random, but appropriate sequel, you got it. You know, with Tim Burton returning to direct, you know, it's everything you expect from a traditional Tim Burton film, you know, and it's just so nice to see Tim Burton not only returning to direct, but also just to see another film of his, you know, in the traditional way that with his general, typical horror comedy / dark fantasy films like he traditionally does. You know, it's everything you expect from a traditional Tim Burton film. If there was anybody else, this wouldn't be Beetlejuice. And of course it isn't Beetlejuice without Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder back as Beetlejuice and Lydia Deetz respectively. Obviously the best characters of not only the last one but also this film too. You know, with their performances you can't go wrong with in this film too. They really absolutely define those characters. And it was also nice to see Captain O'Hara return as well. She's as ditzy as ever. The rest of the characters were interesting to say the least. Plus, apparently Danny DeVito is in this film, which, if you look really closely at the official trailer, you'll spot him. Here, I'll put a frame by frame here so you can try to spot him. Did you see him? Was that clear? Hopefully it was. Then there's Jenna Ortega's character Astrid Deetz, who is the daughter of Lydia, who unlike her last project with Tim Burton, gets to express more than just one emotion. Now I know the trope of like the estranged relationship between kid and parents in movies is kind of overplayed, but in Beetlejuice, Astrid's estranged relationship with Lydia makes sense to me. Like it parallels to Lydia with her parents in the first film. I guess it must run in the family. I guess Lydia definitely saw it coming. And yes, before anybody says it, I know we have both Wednesday and Joyce Byers in the same movie. There. Got it out of your systems yet? But I think what I like most about this film was just the sets and the visual effects and even the costumes in this movie. Like, the use of practical sets and stop motion, helped the film to remain some of that 80s style aesthetic that was not only for the Beetlejuice film, but also kind of, the films that Tim Burton likes to make too. It kind of combines both modern day and past together, or it's like a refurbishment of 80s filmmaking with modern technology. Yeah, I think there's just something unique about Beetlejuice with its, very practical sets and combining live action and stop motion. Like, with these kinds of things, we rarely get in Hollywood these days, especially with the advanced technology that's, advancing every second of a year. So it was really nice to see that kind of thing again on screen. Now, some people may think that this film was completely random, which, to be fair, it was, especially during the climax of the film.
I swear the Afterlife is so random!
But I will say that, honestly, I think that's just pretty much, honestly, the point of Beetlejuice. Like, it's just random comedy, horror, fun, and I'm personally all in for it. Well, not completely. I'll get back to that in a sec. Oh, by the way, I gotta show you guys something. This moment right here, which is also in the second official trailer of the movie, is ironically one of my favorite moments of the entire movie. Like, it puts a whole new, or I guess literal meaning behind the phrase, getting sucked in your phones. But essentially, the whole plot for this movie is set up by the death of a major character from the first film, and the actor that portrayed the character is now cancelled. Yet they're still in the film in some capacity. So I don't know whether to laugh at the fact that the whole movie was literally set up, just solely done to spit in that actor's face that got cancelled, or just feel confused that they still decided to include him in the film anyway. I mean, according to Tim Burton here, he says that the character's death was inspired by his own worst nightmare, but I don't know. I'm on the fence about that, to be honest. I feel so guilty for saying that. Sorry, Tim Burton, I still love you. But also, this film was actually pretty gory for a PG-13 film, and honestly, I think it has the potential to be a rated R movie just for violence. I even dropped the F-bomb twice, which the latter one was bleeped out for some reason.
What the f***?
And yes, this actually was in the movie, not just in the trailer here. Which honestly just gave me an annoying taste in my mouth, as for a single censor bleep made the movie as though it was just some kind of like YouTube parody. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just too used to hearing or using the censor bleeps mainly on YouTube, so maybe that's just me. But still, don't really understand the need to do that, to be honest. Okay, so now moving on to the more negative side of things, unfortunately, I don't know, am I the only one that feels like this movie played it too safe? I mean, it has a similar runtime to the first one, which the character himself, Beetlejuice, has a similar amount of screen time as it did in the first one and this one. And I felt that the story for this movie was just pretty weak, like on par or just too much in parallel to how the plot was in the first film. You have this estranged family arriving at the haunted house, this curious kid discovers a model of Winter Ritter, a problem arises between the living and the dead, Beetlejuice is called upon to help deal with the problem, they go through the afterlife navigating through random, scary obstacles along the way, Beetlejuice is sent back to the afterlife, family becomes closer than ever, happily ever after, the end. So yeah, if you watched the first one, you wouldn't really be missing out that much when it comes to Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. It's similar in tone, it has a similar story, it doesn't really bring anything new to the table, and yeah, if you're very familiar with the first one, like I said, don't expect a lot of new things here. It's just sort of like a mini trip down memory lane, to be honest. However, that's not necessarily my biggest problem with this film. My biggest problem, I have two big problems, which is that I feel like the first act the pacing, especially with the first act, was really slow. Like, it took way too long to get to the main plot or the main point of the movie, or at least the second act. Like, the whole point of the movie was that Astrid gets kidnapped to the afterlife, and Lydia has to work together with Beetlejuice to rescue her, and it took a long time to get to that point now, so I was just like, get on with it! And then my second biggest problem, which I think is my friend's biggest problem for this movie too, is that there were just way too many villains in this movie. Like, one doesn't really go anywhere. The second was clearly just such a forced romance plot device, if I've seen any, that gets resolved with a complete deus ex machina. And the third villain, I saw his true intentions from a mile away, like after getting used to his character, and I was like, well, he's the bad guy right there. But like I said, I don't mind necessarily that this film had completely random moments as part of the fun of Beetlejuice, but there were some points of the story that just felt completely like random, so much so but that it gets left unexplained, unresolved, or just unsatisfying, that makes it unsatisfying. Especially revolving around the villains, Delia Deetz's character, and Astrid being a bullied kid in a boarding school, which, I mean, honestly, thank God that they didn't delve into that too much, because they already did so on Wednesday. There's even a minor subplot with Lydia Deetz having her own horror show that's like Twilight Zone style, which I was actually intrigued with that concept, but I just wish that they experimented with that more. So overall, while I thought, yes, Beetlejuice, I think just plays it too safe as a movie. Like if you're a really big fan of the original and watch it like hundreds of times, then yeah, even if you don't go into this one and just wait for it to when it comes to streaming, you wouldn't really be missing all that much, honestly. With its similar plot and runtime and its just problems with its villains and pacing, I find that the sequel is significantly weaker to the first Beetlejuice. However, this isn't me just completely telling you to just wait for it until it comes to streaming. Because I still recommend going to watch this if you're just looking for a good old-fashioned fun entertainment time in this horror comedy. You know, it's nice to see Tim Burton back making films doing what he does best with the dark fantasy gothic horror film genre. And it was of course fun to see Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara return to their respective roles. And I just loved the practical sets that were used in this movie, and just seeing the use of stop motion on the big screen once again, you know, giving it that old 80s style or traditional, I guess, animation filmmaking. That all these points combined just makes this film just an appropriate sequel. Yeah, that's pretty much how I'd sum it up, just a safe, appropriate sequel. I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 6.5 out of 10 and a B. B for Beetlejuice. Man, I feel like I've said Beetlejuice so many times in this movie, I'm seriously surprised that Beetlejuice hasn't shown up at my door yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Beetlejuice.
The juice is loose.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This is going to be for my first Halloween-related video for this season on this channel this year, 2024. So coming up next for Halloween on this channel will be Joker for Lydia Deetz, so I'm hoping you will tune in for that. And before, but most likely after that or closer to Halloween, will be a secret video that you guys are just going to have to tune in to see what it is. But believe me when I say this is one that I'm really, really excited for to work on, because I'll say this now, this is straight up my favorite dark fantasy horror film of all time. But just to get you guys started, I'll leave you guys with these two hints. Stop motion, and it's on its anniversary this year. I'll just say that much. So if you guys want to eventually find out what that movie is, then I highly suggest you guys punch that subscribe button in the face so you can tune in for more things related to movies, TV shows, or any of that jazz. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hammer that like button and hit that notification bell so you can tune in for when another video like this pops up next. And please, be sure to share this video around to as many people as possible, whether it's your friends, your family, your dad, your mom, your brother, your sister, I don't care. Anybody else who you know is a movie fan or has watched or has heard of this movie, or you think whoever just would be interested in this movie, you can share too, would be very much appreciated. But that's all that's gonna do for me, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out the full playlist of all movie TV related things covered this year in 2024 on the box on the right or in the description box below. And if you want to check out the previous video, click the video on the left. But that's all the time I have. I hope to see you all in line again for the next thing. Rhinos, roll out, take care.